Now, Donald Trump has some harsh words for how the Benghazi hearings were carried out, and especially for Trey Gowdy. Now, he was on Fox and Friends, called in to talk about Trey Gowdy traveling around with Marco Rubio, and he had this to say.
A noted conservative, Trey Gowdy from South Carolina, Mr. Trump, is actually headed to Iowa with Senator Marco Rubio. Some people surprised by that news and interested in whether or not an endorsement will come out from Trey Gowdy with Senator Rubio in Iowa. Obviously, all of you fighting hard for Iowa. What's your reaction to Trey Gowdy, again, a noted and aggressive conservative, going to Iowa with Marco Rubio?
Well, I just read about that, and I hope he does a better job than he did, frankly, in the Benghazi hearings, because they were a total disaster. And I've been seeing on Twitter many people extremely angry about the whole thing, because, you know, Marco's been very strong for amnesty and very weak at the border, and a lot of people are very upset with Trey Gowdy for doing that. And he said it's not an endorsement, but if he's going to travel around, he might as well say it's an endorsement. He's going to be traveling around with him, Iowa. And, you know, his hearings were a disaster. Everybody was looking forward to something that was going to be really productive, and he didn't win with those hearings. It was a total not good for Republicans and for the country. I mean, beyond Republicans, it was very bad for the country. So I hope he does a lot better for Marco than he did for the Benghazi hearings, because they were not good.
They were not good. They were bad for Republicans, and they were bad for the country. How? Exactly. I mean, I could see how they're bad for Republicans, since they essentially admitted that this is nothing but a political witch hunt. Which essentially, that's what it is. It wasn't about getting to the truth. No, not at all. It was about trying to hurt Hillary Clinton's chances at getting elected. And trust me, she has a lot of other things you could go after her for. Oh, but I forget. Republicans, well, they love Wall Street. They love their Wall Street connections. So they're not going to go after her on those. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, I think Donald Trump is just kind of mad at Trey Gowdy because now he's traveling around with Marco Rubio. I mean, you heard him. It might as well be an endorsement, right? Might as well. I mean, he's traveling around with a guy, you know, palling up with Marco Rubio. He should be palling up with me. See, when it comes to Trump, anybody who attacks Trump or supports a rival, it's sort of fair game for him as far as he's concerned. Hey, I get it. Hey, if you're not supporting me, then why should why should I not go after you on this? And he does. He goes after him on Twitter. But see, this isn't about the Benghazi hearings being a disaster, which I do actually agree. They were, but not in the way that Trump thinks they were. And it's also not about the Republican brand. Oh, to hurt Republicans. Well, Donald Trump doesn't actually give one shit about the Republican Party. No, what he cares about is himself and his ego. And since Trey Gowdy is supposedly, and he hasn't made an official endorsement, but is with Marco Rubio and probably will make an endorsement, well, that kind of rubs Trump the wrong way. Because remember, Trump is a narcissist. He's egotistical. He wants everybody to be with him. And if you're not with him, you're against him. Now, in fact, see, Donald Trump, it's not as if he's like, this Benghazi hearing was bad because it was a stupid idea, because it was nothing more than a witch hunt. No. It's bad because it looked bad. Because they didn't actually get what they were going for. Remember, Donald Trump actually believes that there was a cover-up by Hillary Clinton in Benghazi. I believe he had tweeted out or retweeted an image of Hillary's head superimposed over the ruins of the Benghazi. Was it consulate? Yeah. Over the ruins of, the building where Ambassador Stevens and 3 other Americans were killed. My guess is that he's actually not for the truth or facts. Because you see, if he actually cared about facts, well, he would point out that the House Select Committee on Benghazi has actually wasted $4.5 million in nearly 2 years of investigating the terrorist attack. And he would also point out that this is the 8th hearing that found absolutely nothing. No smoking gun, no conspiracy, no cover-up, Nothing, nada, zilch, nothing. If he were concerned with the facts, now he could point to all those and say, that's why these Benghazi hearings were a disaster. They're wasting your money. They're wasting your money on nothing, on a political witch hunt. No. Donald Trump doesn't point out any of that. Now, if Donald Trump also cared about facts, then maybe he'd mention that there were campaigns that fundraised off these hearings. For example, I got one. Andy Tobin, who was a former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives, had actually solicited funds for his challenge to Representative Ann Kirkpatrick in Arizona by playing up the investigation and his potential role in it. I actually have the email for you. I want you to take a look at this. Oh, this is clearly an email soliciting donations of the Benghazi hearings. I'm going to get to the truth. Donate $10 to help me. Oh, that's ridiculous. Not only is it ridiculous, it's fucking low. You're fundraising off the deaths of 4 Americans. Is it any wonder this asshole got crushed in the polls? He got crushed in the election. That's why he is the former Speaker of the House of Representatives in Arizona. Look, let's be fair. One thing to be fair when it comes to Trey Gowdy, he actually did denounce this tactic of fundraising off this. But anyway, so yes, the hearings were a disaster, but not for the reasons that Donald Trump laid out. It's actually because it was nothing more than a political witch hunt and a sideshow, as well as, for some congressmen or for some politicians, a blatant cash grab. Now, there's also one thing I want to address here, is that I've been pretty critical of Hillary Clinton, right? But one thing I definitely have to give her credit for is staying cool, calm, and collected when handling 11 hours of these morons grilling her about Benghazi. But when it comes to Trump, back to Trump here for a second. See, facts don't matter. You see, he's more likely to use Benghazi if it helps him. And as we've seen, if something actually helps Trump and his election chances, well, it's absolutely terrific. I mean, look at the endorsement from, white supremacist groups that are like, Trump is the man. Is he going out and denouncing that and thinking, ooh, maybe I need to change up my rhetoric or my strategy? No, he's saying, oh, that's great. I mean, I can't really choose who supports me. But, that's great. Not really going out of his way to say, oh, white supremacists are following me. That's not a good thing. Well, it's probably a bad thing. Maybe I need to re-examine my whole position. No, you double down. Of course. Should start calling him Double Down Don. But if something helps him, it's awesome. It's terrific. It's great. But if something doesn't help him, it's bad. It's a disaster. Whatever. And these Benghazi hearings, they're not helping the party. They certainly hurt the party. And now they're starting to hurt Donald Trump. And so, of course, he's going to come out and say, disaster, terrible, disaster. And he also says that about Trey Gowdy because, once again, if he's not with him, he's against him. And that's how Donald plays politics.